Hi, teammates. This is Sean J. McCall, and I'm coming at you with this edition of Let's Talk. I almost called it the Hero Step. Let's Talk. And I'm excited to have my guest on. I am going to get us in right away with no further ado, no long introduction, and get started. Hold on, let me get him in here. There he is. Seconds, actually. I'm on fire today. So, what we got? No, did it not work? I tried again. Let's see if it works this time. Guten Abend. So where's my guest? How come he's not popping up? Tommaso, why don't you try to join? Click that plus button with the camera. Click on that and see if I get an invitation from you. I don't know why it's not working right now from my side. It says you're unable to join for some reason. No, what are we going to do? I hate stuff like this, Instagram. So let's see. Have you tried to click that button down there and try to come in? Maybe it's just not working from my side. You can write it in the comment section and let me know if you tried it already as well. What's going on, Instagram? You're killing me right now. You're in, yeah, but click that button down here, the plus button with the camera, and that should send an invitation to me. Because for some reason, I'm not able to add you from my side. Already tried nothing. Okay, let me try one more time. If this doesn't work, we're gonna have to get out and try it again. So I sent it again, and it doesn't seem to be working. Oh, come on, Instagram. You're killing me right now. How you doing, Miles? Thank you for joining. We're having some technical difficulties. We might have to get out of Instagram. It's not working. Okay, so sorry, everybody. The invite is. Oh wait.
Okay, I tried with my phone.
Can you? Were you trying
can you
with your
let's
laptop
see.
or something?
I will try in this way. One moment.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. We're trying this way. I don't know why in the laptop there is not the option. And
okay, that's why.
Yeah, I'm using the school mobile laptop, so maybe that's why. I don't know.
Okay, so then you are in. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
I'm glad it finally worked. I was getting a little frustrated with Instagram. So basically, I just need you to introduce yourself really briefly, tell the good people out there what you do, and then we're going to get right into it.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction. I'm very glad to be here with you guys. I hope this evening we can share something. I'm not here just to tell you the rules and all the stuff. So basically, I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I work in Denmark. How I started working with a strength and conditioning coach. I started because I came from a sport family, in Italy. So my father was a professional climber. My brother was working in athletics. So for me, it was easy finding the sport pathway. You know what I mean. I decided to study sports science and then to take the master degree too, always in sports science in Italy. That's basically my
how you started
experience with it. Exactly. So I decided to work before the university like a coach, always with basketball. So I started when I was 17.
Mhm.
Now I'm 30, so 13 years old, but I started consistently working when I was 20, 21, 21. So my thought was, okay, how can I collect a huge amount of experience in less time as possible? So basically, the answer was studying and find a way to put together a lot of hours with many clubs and with many coaches.
Right.
So with many sacrifices, but that's the point, you know. Especially in Italy, you're considered young also when you are old. Okay, so you need to make an experience. Okay, so that's the key point. And I started with from the last divisions in Italy.
Wait,
From the
we're gonna get to that. I just needed you to introduce yourself real quick. I'm gonna get to that point in just a second.
Yeah,
My first question for you is to warm up. So you're an Italian guy living in Denmark.
yeah,
Have
exactly.
you brought any Italian traditions or something like that into your work with Danish athletes?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's asking me to prepare tiramisu. I don't know if you, okay, so I failed many times baking it, but nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. So they eat, they are happy. So they're gonna eat that. It doesn't matter. Obviously, I have to invite my players more times at my place.
Right.
I have a bet with my American player, Josiah Johnson. Every time he drops 30 points, I have to bake for him, to cook for him. So I forgot every time to do that. So I promise you guys that I will do that. So
Okay. So what inspired you to leave home, to leave Italy, to go to Denmark? Was it love? Was it business? What was it?
I mean, I wasn't looking for an outside experience.
Right.
I had many options in Germany, in Israel too, but Israel was not the moment, you know. So Germany was a good option, but I think Denmark represents a very good option for salary, quality of the life, and especially in here because I have an academy. I have the first league in Basket Liga, and I have a very good test center in my college where I can work and when I can work and improve a lot, work on myself a lot. Okay, so I like my job. I like spending time working on it. So I have a very expensive test center, basically. Okay, so
Good.
that's the main reason I'm here.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
So you're balancing all these different things. You've got the club team, you've got the college, you've got your sports thing. You've got under 15 to under 18 Danish national team basketball, boys basketball team. So
Yeah.
you're kind of juggling quite a
Yeah,
bit.
I have badminton too because I am so badminton.
Wow. Okay, so how do you manage to work with so many different players on different levels?
I mean, the first thing you have to do is finding a weekly routine so you can focus on your priorities also in the daily routine. You know, I mean, my routine is based on find time for me on weight room for myself. If I can deal with that, I'm able to manage all the players. I find the energy and the motivation to work with many basically
Yeah.
teams and players. So it's all about find a balance between your life and job. You know.
That's incredibly hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's very tough. And but it's I think every coach, also every player has to find a balance in routines. Basically, is a routine. It's difficult because sometimes you know you have to approach to the first team
Mhm.
with some. We have a very young team, but with professional or semi-professional players, and then you have to deal with the guys that are working or the guys that are studying. So it's
Right.
different approach with a guy that is has already finished a 8-hour shift of working. No, or the professional player. So it's challenging. It's challenging, but keeps your mind alive. You know. So
Yeah, I got you.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about like your work and especially with newer rookies or young Americans or import players. From your perspective, what is one of the biggest mistakes that overseas rookies, import players have when they first come overseas?
I mean, I know that is usually American players think that offshore basketball is an American thing. Okay, so they don't expect sometimes that Europe can be so tough.
Yeah.
The level is so demanding.
Yeah.
They used to do that, especially the first experience.
Right.
And especially when they come from NCAA level 2 or level 3, usually, not always, but usually the training load or the practices that they used to train on, it's not so high or demanding, especially physically. Okay, but they have to be ready when they come here to experience something very, very tough, very tough. I mean, every day is a war. Every day is a war. Every day is contact. Almost every day. The day before the game is contact. So physically, it's very demanding. The season. You have a lot of pressure on you. Coaches usually have a lot of pressure, and so you cannot expect also a pre-season where you start slow. I mean, if you go in EuroLeague or in a good level teams, you have 12 very good professional players, and coaches can start gradually because there is no reason to go so fast. But if you are a hopper, especially with the lower levels, middle levels, semi-professional leagues, you have to deal that every day is a war. Every day, and I think that sometimes they arrive out of shape. They arrive with some issues, and you know, when the boat goes on, it cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
Okay, so the team has to go on. To go on.
I think you're totally right about that, and especially the part about not being in shape. I always tell players, especially those who maybe have missed a season playing, they didn't get a job their first or second year out of school, and I always tell them, the longer you're out, the more you're injury risk.
Yeah.
You're more at risk to be injured because you're going from nothing to right away. You have to produce and you have to start right away.
Exactly.
There's no grace period to get yourself ready. No. So, and then they always say, oh yeah, but I've been working out, I've been hooping every day. Yo, it is not the same hooping at 7 o'clock at night at 24-hour fitness and thinking you're ready, your body is ready for 2 to 3 practices a day.
Yeah. And you're touching a very important thing, especially because I'm experiencing this also in Denmark, because everybody likes weight room, or at least most of them, they love weight room. Also American players, they like weight room, you know. And usually in the summer, they work a lot in the weight room, if they work. But then the thing I think they are missing is not only touching the ball, but being in shape about running, agility drills.
Yeah, for sure.
Weight room is a different thing. Weight room is a support of basketball. But then basketball is running up and down, sliding, lateral movements, and specific. You have to work in the proper way. So you don't need a scientist. You don't need that. You need to just run, sliding, jumping. So that's mainly staying in shape. You know, you can skip sometimes weight room in the summer. That's the problem. I think they arrive completely out of shape about running. They struggle with that. You can see them.
Yeah. Players' routines, they change dramatically when they first come over. New time zones, new food, new languages, training schedules, how they eat, how they sleep, or how often they sleep.
You're live.
Oh. So this is the second time that's happened, and I am fed up with this cell phone holder because last time it also fell down, and yeah, so it's bootleg, so I got to get a new one. Anyway,
Okay.
so new sleep patterns, things like that. What advice do you give overseas import players when they arrive the first couple of weeks?
Okay. First, I'm not judging because I know that is a different world, Europe from the States, and especially for the hour in the States is different from the hour in Europe. So I see that usually they struggle on, they have to call the family, they have to call the girlfriend, the wife in the night,
Yeah.
and usually it is a problem. It's a real problem because you have to deal with the fact that doesn't matter how many hours you sleep. You have to sleep in the night, properly in the night, because if you sleep only in the night, you get recovery properly, okay? So I think that sometimes they stay awake until it's too late. They fall asleep too late because they have to call the family. It's normal. They need that, okay, of sure, but sometimes they struggle on that, okay? But it's a concrete problem. It's not a small thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously I cannot say to them, stop, don't call your family. Okay, maybe it will be great finding a balance on that. Okay,
Right.
because if you know that you're practicing at 9 a.m. or at 10 a.m., you have to deal with the fact that you cannot wake up 20 minutes before, 30 minutes before.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
you need at least 8 hours of sleeping. Is the minimum. Less than 8 hours means that increasing the injury risk by 50, 70%. Less than 8 hours. Then you can find many researches, they talk about 30, 40%. Doesn't matter. There's the concept, So that's the biggest problem I found on that. Offshore, if you don't sleep well, you're not ready to perform in the practice.
Right.
And especially, okay, if you are the best profile in Europe, you're already done like player. Okay, you're perfect. Maybe you need to improve, but not so much like a hooper. Okay, if you're a hooper, you need to work on your limits. Okay, you have to work on your limits. You have to change your habits and doing something different, different that you are not doing before. If you don't sleep, you cannot do that. Basically.
Yeah. What about new training methods? Like, do players often have trouble to adjust to things that are different than back home? And when they come over here, there's a totally different way of training. Do players that you've experienced have a lot of trouble with adapting to new training methods?
Yeah. Okay. Being in Europe means that sometimes you find coaches with 1-year contract, with many pressure, and so the weekly routine is based on working on the opponent. Okay, you work on yourself, on your team, but it's difficult to finding a lot of time to work on your skills, on your technique. You work a lot on game sense, defense, a lot of defense, crazy defense, and the opponents basically. Okay, so the focus is set in other place. Okay, that's the main thing. So you have to be ready. Every practice will be demanding, mentally, physically. If you have some routines about, for example, 2 hours of shooting, it can affect your practice, okay, your team practice, because if you spend 2 hours working alone by yourself, you get tired.
Right.
If you are tired, you're not able to perform in the practice.
Right.
I think basically, for my small experience, sometimes what I hear from the players is that in the college, the focus is on the improvement. But in the professional leagues in Europe, the focus is on performing not only in the game but in the practice. If you don't perform, somebody is going to steal your minutes. I mean,
and for an American, for an import player, if somebody's stealing your minutes, that means
can be
you're probably on your way home.
Exactly. It can be a big problem. Okay, you have to perform all the time. It's an amazing job because you play basketball, but it's very, very, very demanding. There is pressure on you. Okay, you have to perform. If you don't perform, somebody can wait you a bit or longer. You don't know. You never know. And the market is always open.
Yep.
That's the thing. It's always open. It's a lucky thing, but also is a bad thing for the ones that have the contract. So I mean, you want to improve. You want to push too hard in weight room. If in a week you are not shooting well, the coaches start. Come on, the player is not shooting well. There's a problem. 1 month of not shooting well can be an issue. Can be an issue. So I think that the first thing for a overseas player is finding a balance between his routines and the weekly routine of the team.
Right.
It's completely different. Completely.
What would you say is more difficult for the players? The mental part of moving to maybe a new country and all the changes, or the physical and demanding of being a professional?
I mean, the difficulties you're talking about basketball wise or around
basketball wise.
Okay. So I think in Europe you can find many different leagues, and every league has a different demanding factors. Okay, so there are leagues where, for example, they can get 5 American players, and maybe you can get a different role. So they're not asking you to score 20 points, but they ask you to put energy, to play defense. For example, in the first league in Italy, you can get 5 or 6 Americans, I think. I don't know. Usually they take American players for not only scoring, but also play hard defense, a lot of energy. So physically, it's a different approach. If you are the only American player in another league, probably your job will be scoring.
Right.
So the demandings will be different. Okay, sometimes everybody will ask you to play defense, but if sometimes you take a breath in a defense action, you will not be benched. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a different thing. Physically, it's different. It's different demanding. That's what I think about basketball-wise. And offshore, about every country has his own method of working. If you meet the Balkan coaches, Mediterranean coaches, be ready to work hard every practice.
Balkan coaches.
Crazy. The mantra with Balkan coaches is every practice has to be tougher than the game.
Yeah.
Okay. You will lose players with injuries. It's part of the job. It's part of the job. You have to, for me, I'm a strength coach, trainer. I'm focused on physical load, but for me it's easy because I have only one.
Right.
And a coach has to think about the mental load, the technical load, the tactical load, and then there is the guy like me that is telling him sometimes to remember about the physical load. So you have four things to put all together to build a puzzle, and physical load cannot be a priority always. Okay, sometimes you have to struggle. You have to play on your injuries. You have to play on fatigue, especially with some kind of coaches. Yeah. Okay, and I know that being able to choose a team and a contract is a privilege, and now it's stopped working with basketball in the way. But we'll recommend that, okay, if you can choose properly a team and a coach. If you know that you have many limits, you cannot deal with tough practice every day.
Yeah.
If you have the privilege to choose, I mean, go.
Yeah.
Choose. Okay. So,
what do you think is one of the biggest changes since you've been being a strength and conditioning coach over the last, let's say, 10 years, the development in basketball for your job? What do you think is one of the biggest changes?
I mean, for my personal, training coaches wise in general, or for me?
For you.
I mean, I think the biggest step I made was made because of I worked with the. I mean, I started with the last divisions in Italy, male, female, and also youth teams. And everybody's asking me about the highest level, okay? But I mean, sometimes it's more easy working. It's easier working with that because everything is settled, everything is perfect. We have a very good athletes. If I have an issue, I have two physiotherapists. They can fix the problem. The day after, the player is fresh after the physio. Okay, it's easier. Okay, I mean the tough job probably is working with a lower level, and the experience that gave me the last divisions in Italy is huge, huge. Not only the amount of hours, but the quality of the experience. You understand basically what is working because of you, what is working because of the coaches, and what is working because of the player genetics. Okay, I mean, you recognize what is working, what is not working. So it's important for me being able to coach in the last divisions because it helped me to simplify my job, to take off. My teachers, they came from a high level, Euroleague, Eurocup, university. Is a different world. Okay,
Right.
it's a different world. I can put. I had an experience with an Orlando Magic player. You can expect that in weight room he was pushing huge dumbbells, barbells. No, he was squatting with 6 kilograms dumbbell and shoulder press with 4 kilograms. He was dunking and jumping around in all the court, and not because of me, but because of him. You know what I mean? So I think it was important for me being able to coach out in the last division because you understand what basketball players they need to improve. Okay, so I think that is the main thing, basically.
What is it like for you to, or no, let me rephrase that. Have you ever had a coach that did not believe in what you do and made it difficult for you to do your job? How did you handle it?
I mean, I had the experience. I worked with 32, 35 coaches. Okay,
Wow.
it's impossible being able to be an appreciate to everybody. It's impossible. It's impossible. I mean, the only thing you can do is working. Shut up and working. Shut up and working. I mean, because there is no sense to put to create problems during the season, because if you create problems, you're going to give problems to the team.
Right.
Okay, there are people, there are coaches that are able to manage issues with the staff members, and there are coaches that are not able to do that. If you recognize that if I have a coach in front of me and he has problems with me, but he's not able to manage that, there is no reason to destroy the season. I mean,
Right.
the coaches. I mean, I'm not considering the strength and coach trainer. I'm considering an assistant of the coach. Okay.
Right.
I want to consider this my job. Sometimes we forgot, we trainers, that we are assistant of the coaches and we have to help them. Then we don't like each other. Can happen. We are people, we are. It's normal. It's the reality of the life. But there is no reason to destroy a season. There are too many responsibilities on that.
Yeah. I think I have a really difficult question now.
Yeah.
Who do you work for? The player or the club?
Okay. Depending, I solved the question. Depending on the team.
Okay.
I consider myself a guy of the club because I receive the salary from my club,
Right.
basically. But I think the most interesting thing in my job is helping the players. Is that what is giving me passion? It's a tough job away from my family. I love helping people, helping the people. Basically, we are talking about people. Okay, it can be
Right. You're right.
people.
Right.
So I have my limits, but I recognize that I love my job when I have them. Okay, to reach their goals. That's the main thing. But yeah, you have to find a balance between doing what the club is saying, especially when there are injuries, and also what the players need. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes the club is asking to the player to play on an injury. And you have to convince the player that sometimes being able to work on an injury is a skill. Is a
Mm-hmm.
skill. Because if you become famous to stop every season for many issues,
You won't get a job.
exactly, exactly. Obviously, I'm not asking you to play without an arm, without a leg, but I mean, injury is part of the game.
Right. Right.
It's
And
part of the game.
I think most players, I would say really most players play hurt. Um, like no player in a season is 100% at any point in the season, right? So
Yeah.
we all have our little things, and it's for each player to decide what he can play through and what not. In my opinion, it's only his or her decision. But at the same time, of course, if you're someone who is looked at as always being hurt, then you're probably not going to get too many jobs.
Mm.
So sometimes you got to bite the bullet and play through some stuff so that you can keep your job, so that you can
Yeah.
keep that what you love to do.
Yeah. I think if the players start becoming more sharp and more interested on their body in terms of okay, what is going on my body,
Mm-hmm.
will be perfect for them. That's why I'm trying always to explain to the players what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they become they start understanding their own bodies. Okay, so they can recognize in their career what they have, what they don't have, if they can play through or if they have to stop. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
uh, is the key point. Is the key point because the self-regulation of a player, I mean, is a skill. Is a skill. They have to understand when they can push more, when they have to push less.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in Italy, in high level, I recognize that maybe because it was a natural selection, too many players, huh? And natural selection, they arrive the players that are able to manage by themselves the body, and was easy working with them. Okay, today I'm feeling this. What you think is better if I push more or less? No, I like this kind of approach with the players,
Right.
and they have to understand what is going on their bodies. Okay, um, that's with male. With females, I understand that, especially in professional leagues, they used to they are tougher than men, stronger
Mm-hmm.
than men in professional leagues, and they used to work a lot of injuries. Uh, can be dangerous, obviously. You have to find you have to know your body, basically. That's
Right.
the thing.
Right. Right. What's one lesson that you've learned in Danish basketball that you wish more players knew?
Danish league can be very, very, very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Underrated. So many players they come here and they think it's Danish league. Ranking FIBA is very, very, very low. Um, you know, it's the worst approach ever you can have. You know,
Yeah, it's not
to
professional.
is a physical league. Is a league where many times players prefer to spend 2 hours in the weight room instead of watching a video
Mm-hmm.
or instead of working on the shoot. So it's a very physical league where if you are not physically ready, you can struggle. You can struggle a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be very, very technical, but the physicality is very high. It's very high. Okay.
Okay. If you could give one piece of advice to rookies, whether they be Danish, Austrian, American, doesn't matter. One piece of advice to rookies, what would it be?
Advice. I have too many advice to be there. No.
Get
Sleep in
one.
the night.
Get one.
Sleep. No. Work on your weak spots, weak part of your game. Okay, so can be physicality, but also in the physicality approach, you can find the agility, the strength, the durability, the resistance. You have to work on your weak spots. Know what I mean? You have to work on that, and it's more difficult than you expected because if you have to change something on your body or your approach, you have to change your habits.
Right.
Basically, changing the habits is the most difficult thing, but you have to do that if you want to improve. If you want to change a thing, you have to do something that you never did before.
Right.
If you want to become agile, you have to waking up before, arrive in shape, being able to practice hard in the morning, and working on agility. Is a stupid example, okay, but can be for shooting wise, everything. I mean, I don't like when players also they work a lot, but they work always in the same approach, with the same way, with the same mentality, and they don't change anything. Okay, so change something, change. I think that's the point.
Got just a couple more questions for you, then I'll let you get out of here. If you could train any player in the world, past, present, doesn't matter, any basketball player in the world, who would you choose to work with?
To work with. Depends. Weight room or court can be
your job. So it could be whatever. It's your job, and you get to choose one player.
I choose Francesco Pellegrino because he's my friend, and we like playing video games, and he's my friend. That's
I got you.
That's no. I met I think Alessandro Gentile. Alessandro Gentile.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, actually, that was the last one. I thought I had another one. So basically, this is the part of the show where I ask you to nominate somebody that you think would be a good fit for this show that I can write to and say, hey, I'd like to have you on my show, and that you nominated them. The key is you have to help me get this person on the show. So you have to write to them and say, hey, this guy's going to hit you up, and maybe it's a good idea for you to go on this show.
Okay.
So now it's your turn to think about somebody. It can be a player, it can be a coach, it can be a fan, it doesn't matter.
I stop you now. I tell you, the coach, Mattias Camino, is my coach is in Denmark.
Is your coach in Denmark?
My first name, yeah, Mattias Camino. Exactly.
I think I saw him in here, I think.
Yeah, okay, you're lucky. You can ask directly to him. I think I will enjoy with pleasure.
I can do that. So then that'll be someone who I can reach out to. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm gonna let you get out of here. It's what, 8:38 at night. I'll let you get up out of here, and I really appreciate you coming on and giving us an insight to your job and Denmark. I think you gave Denmark a very positive light as far as how things go there. And yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on, and I'll be in touch.
Okay. It was a pleasure for me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So everybody, another great guest that I had on today. I always say the same thing, that I'm really, really lucky with the guests that I get that I'm able to hopefully give different viewpoints, and maybe you can learn something. Especially today, I thought it was good when we were talking about the rookies and what rookies need, and how they need to adjust. And that's something that I stress a lot in my consultations with players. So yeah, that's it for tonight. I think I have one. Yes, I do have one next week. Thank you for all of you that are here, whether you're here for just for 1 minute or the 39 minutes that we've been on, even through dropping my phone on the floor. So you never know what's going to happen on Let's Talk. So thank you for joining, and I'll be back next week with another episode. And I hope to see you new faces around next time, and you old faces, I'll shout you out anyway. So yeah, that's it for tonight. I hope all you and your friends and your family are healthy. That's it for me. Old Head out.